My name is Arthur. I am 68 years old. I live in a small two-bedroom apartment on the edge of a town that used to be my home. I have a coffee maker that takes 5 minutes to brew a single cup. It used to be in the kitchen of the house I built. Now it sits on a countertop that I hate. The countertop is white laminate. It has a burn mark near the back left corner from a pan I left on too long. I do not have the energy to replace it. I do not have the energy for much of anything these days. Today is Tuesday. It is raining. I can hear the rain hitting the window of my apartment. The window is old and cheap, and the rain sounds louder than it should. I sit in my recliner and I watch the rain, and I think about the sound of rain on the roof of the house I built. That house had a metal roof. The rain sounded like a soft drum. It sounded like a promise. It sounded like safety. I miss that sound more than I miss anything else, more than I miss my life, more than I miss my children, more than I miss the life I thought I had. I miss the sound of rain on a roof that was mine. I was born in 1958 in a small town in Ohio. My father worked at a factory that made ball bearings. My mother stayed home and raised 4 boys. I was the third. We were poor, but we did not know it. We had a garden in the backyard. We had a dog named Duke who followed me everywhere. We had a television with rabbit ears, and we watched Bonanza on Sunday nights.
My father drank beer from a can and laughed at things I did not understand. My mother made pot roast on Sundays, and the smell would fill the whole house. I thought that was what life was supposed to be. A warm house, a full belly, a father who came home at 5:30, and a mother who kissed his cheek. I wanted that for myself. I wanted that more than anything. I worked hard because I wanted to give my own family the thing I never had. A house that was ours, a house that nobody could take away. I met my wife in 1978. Her name was Diane. She was a cashier at the grocery store. I used to go there every Friday after work to buy a pack of gum and a newspaper just so I could see her smile. She had red hair and freckles across her nose, and she laughed like she meant it. She did not laugh like she was trying to be polite. She laughed like the world was funny and she was in on the joke. I fell in love with her laugh before I fell in love with her. I asked her out on a Tuesday. She said yes on a Friday. We went to a diner and she ordered a cheeseburger with extra pickles, and she ate it like she had not eaten in a week. I loved that about her. She was not afraid to be hungry. She was not afraid to want things. We got married in 1980. We were young and broke and happy. We had a small apartment above a laundromat. The smell of detergent and fabric softener was always in the air. We did not care. We had each other. We had dreams. I worked construction and Diane worked at a bank. We saved every penny. We ate spaghetti 3 nights a week, and we joked that it was our tradition. We were building something. We were building a life. Our first child came in 1982. A boy. We named him Michael after my father. Michael was born with a full head of dark hair and with lungs that could wake the whole building. I held him in my arms and I felt something crack open inside my chest, a feeling I had never felt before, a feeling that said, "This is the reason you are alive." I promised myself in that hospital room that I would never let anything bad happen to this boy. I promised myself that I would give him everything I never had. I would give him a house. I would give him a yard. I would give him a college education. I would give him a father who was there. Our second child came in 1985. A girl. We named her Emily. Emily was quiet. She was observant. She would watch you from across the room, and you could feel her eyes on you like she was figuring you out. She was smart. She was sharp. She was nothing like me. She was like Diane. She had her mother's red hair and her mother's freckles and her mother's way of laughing that made you feel seen. I loved her in a different way than I loved Michael. I loved Michael like a father loves a son. I loved Emily like she was made of glass and I was scared to drop her. She was my little girl. She was the one who would sit on my lap while I read the newspaper and ask me what every word meant. She was the one who brought me dandelions from the yard and told me they were gold. She was the one who painted me pictures that I kept in a shoebox under my bed for 35 years. I worked harder when the children came. I worked double shifts. I worked weekends. I worked holidays. I worked until my hands bled and my back screamed and my eyes burned from lack of sleep. I did it for them. I did it for the house. I did it because I wanted to give my family the thing I never had, a home that was permanent, a home that was ours. I bought the land in 1988. It was a half-acre on the edge of town. It was nothing but dirt and weeds and a few old trees. I saw it and I knew. I knew this was the place. I knew I would build my house here. I knew I would raise my children here. I knew I would grow old here. I spent every evening after work clearing the land. I pulled weeds with my bare hands. I dug rocks out of the ground with a shovel I bought from a hardware store that is now gone. I poured concrete for the foundation myself. I framed the walls myself. I put the roof on myself. My father came to help me on weekends. He was older then. His hands shook from years of factory work, but he held the nails for me and he handed me the hammer and he told me I was doing a good job. I never forgot that. I never forgot him saying that. I wanted my own son to feel that way one day. I wanted Michael to stand next to me on a job site and hear me say, "Good job." I wanted that more than I wanted anything. The house was finished in 1990. It was a 2-story house with a white fence and a garage and a porch that wrapped around the front. It was not a mansion. It was not a showpiece. It was a house built by a man who wanted to give his family a place to land. I remember the day we moved in. Michael was 8. Emily was 5. They ran through the empty rooms and their voices echoed off the new drywall, and Diane stood in the kitchen and cried. She cried because she was happy. She said, "This is the beginning." She said, "We did it." She said, "I love you." I stood in the middle of the living room and I looked at my wife and my children and I felt like I had won at life. I felt like I had done the one thing I was supposed to do. I built a home. I kept them safe. I gave them a place to grow. That house was the center of everything. That house saw first steps and first words and first days of school. That house heard birthday songs and Christmas carols and the sound of a baseball hitting a glove in the backyard. That house held our furniture and our memories and our dreams. I put a swing set in the backyard for Emily. I built a workbench in the garage for Michael. I planted a garden on the side of the house because Diane wanted fresh tomatoes. I painted the fence every 3 years. I replaced the roof in 2004. I fixed the porch in 2010. I kept that house alive. I kept that house breathing. I kept that house as a monument to everything I believed in. The years passed. Michael grew up. He was a good kid. He was not perfect. He got into trouble in high school. He drank beer at parties. He got a speeding ticket once. He broke a window playing baseball. But he was good. He had a good heart. He had my stubbornness. He had Diane's smile. He went to community college because we could not afford a 4-year school. He worked construction with me for 2 summers. We worked side by side. We built decks and fences and additions. We sweated together. We complained together. We laughed together. I told him good job. I told him I was proud of him. I told him he could do anything he wanted. He told me he wanted to be an architect. He wanted to design houses. He wanted to do what I did, but better. I was proud of that. I was proud that he wanted to build things. I was proud that he wanted to create. Emily went to college on a scholarship. She was brilliant. She was always brilliant. She studied finance. She got a job at a big bank in the city. She married a man named Derek. Derek was a lawyer. Derek was clean-cut and well-spoken, and he always wore suits that looked expensive. I did not trust him at first. I did not trust any man who wore a suit on a Saturday. But Emily loved him. Emily said he was smart and kind and ambitious. I trusted Emily. I trusted her judgment. I gave her away at the wedding. I walked her down the aisle, and I felt my chest crack open again like it did the day she was born. I kissed her cheek, and I told her I loved her, and I handed her to Derek. I handed her to him. I trusted him with the most valuable thing I had ever created. I gave him my daughter, and I believed he would take care of her. Diane and I grew older together. We settled into a rhythm. We had our routines.
Coffee in the morning, a walk in the evening, a show on television at night. We did not talk as much as we used to. We did not need to. We had been together long enough that silence felt like conversation. I thought we were happy. I thought we were content. I thought we were the kind of couple that other people looked at and said, "That is what I want." I loved Diane. I loved her in the quiet way. I loved her in the worn-out way. I loved her like you love a place you have lived in for 40 years. You know every creak in the floorboards. You know every crack in the paint. You know the way the light falls in the afternoon, and you know the way the house settles at night. It is not exciting, but it is home. She was my home. Then the grandchildren came. Michael married a woman named Sarah. Sarah was nice. She was organized. She liked lists. She liked order. She was nothing like Michael, but I thought that was good. Opposites attract. They had 2 children, a boy named Jacob and a girl named Mia. I loved those children like I loved my own. I held them when they were babies. I pushed them on the swings. I taught Jacob how to fish. I read Mia stories at bedtime.
I bought them gifts on their birthdays. I put money in their college funds. I did what a grandfather does. I was there. I showed up. I thought that was enough. I thought showing up was the whole point. Emily and Derek had one child, a girl named Chloe. Chloe was the apple of my eye. She was my little princess. She had Emily's red hair and Emily's freckles and Emily's way of looking at you, like she was figuring you out. I would do anything for that girl. I would have given her the moon. I told Derek that. I told him that Chloe was special. I told him to take care of her. He smiled and nodded and said, "Of course, Arthur." He said, "She is my world." I believed him. I believed him because I wanted to. I believed him because I could not imagine a father not loving his daughter. I started to notice things around 2018. Little things, small things, things you could explain away. Diane started getting phone calls that she would take into the other room. She never did that before. She always talked in the kitchen. She always talked where I could hear. When I asked who it was, she said a friend from her book club, a woman I had never met, a woman named Carol. I asked if Carol was the one with the gray hair or the one with the glasses. Diane said she was the one with the glasses. I nodded and I let it go. I let it go because I trusted her. I let it go because I could not imagine my wife lying to me. Michael started acting strange. He was always busy, always working late, always on his phone. He would come over to the house and he would barely look at me. He would look at his phone, he would text someone, he would step outside to take a call. I asked if he was okay. He said he was fine. He said work was stressful. I told him to take care of himself. I told him to come over for dinner more often. He said he would. He never did. He never came over for dinner. He would come over to ask me about the deed to the house. He would come over to ask me about my will. He would come over to ask me about my retirement savings. He would come over to ask me about money. And I answered him. I answered him because he was my son. I answered him because I believed he was looking out for me. I answered him because I was stupid. Emily started acting strange too. She would come over with Derek and they would ask questions. They would ask about the mortgage. They would ask about the property taxes. They would ask about my health insurance. They would ask about my pension. They would ask about everything that had to do with money and nothing that had to do with me. I thought they were being responsible. I thought they were making sure I had everything in order. I thought they loved me and they were looking out for me. I was so wrong. I was so deeply and profoundly wrong. The first crack appeared in the spring of 2019. I had a heart attack, a mild one. The doctors said I was lucky. They said I needed to slow down. They said I needed to take it easy. Diane brought me home from the hospital and she took care of me. She made me soup. She made me tea. She made sure I took my pills. She was good. She was kind. She was exactly what I needed. But something was off. Something was different. She would leave the room to take calls. She would whisper in the kitchen. She would stay up late on the computer. I asked what she was doing. She said she was researching something. She said she was looking at recipes. She said she was doing everything a wife was supposed to do. I believed her. I believed her because she had never given me a reason to doubt her. I believed her because I was a fool. The second crack appeared in the fall of 2019. Michael and Sarah came over for dinner. They brought the kids. Jacob and Mia ran around the house like they always did. They played in the backyard. They swung on the swing set. I watched them from the kitchen window, and I felt happy. I felt content. I felt like everything was right in the world. Then Michael came into the kitchen, and he closed the door. He closed the door and he sat down at the table, and he looked at me with a face I had never seen. He looked at me like I was a stranger. He looked at me like I was an obstacle. He said, "Dad, I need to talk to you about something." He said, "It is about the house." He said, "I think it is time you put the house in my name." He said, "For tax reasons." He said, "For estate planning." He said, "It makes sense." He said, "It is what people do." I stared at him.
I stared at my son. I stared at the boy I taught to throw a baseball. I stared at the boy I worked beside. I stared at the boy I loved. And I said no. I said, "The house is mine." I said, "The house is your mother's and mine." I said, "I will not put it in your name." I said, "I will leave it to you when I die." I said, "You can have it then." He did not like that. He did not like that at all. He got up from the table. He said, "You are making a mistake." He said, "You are being selfish." He said, "You are not thinking about your family." He said, "You are not thinking about us." He left the kitchen. He left the house. He took the kids, and he left. I stood in the kitchen and I felt something break. I felt something crack. I felt something I could not name. The third crack appeared in the winter of 2020. Emily and Derek came over for Christmas. They brought Chloe. Chloe was 6 years old. She was beautiful. She was my favorite person in the world. She sat on my lap and she asked me if Santa was real. I said yes. I said, "Santa is real if you believe in him." She said she believed. She said she believed in everything. I kissed her forehead and told her she was the best gift I ever got. Derek was on his phone the whole time. Derek was texting someone. Derek was not paying attention. Diane was in the kitchen making dinner. Diane was on the phone. Diane was whispering. I did not notice. I did not notice because I was focused on Chloe. I was focused on the little girl who made my heart full.
I did not notice the poison that was spreading through my family. I did not notice the rot. The summer of 2020 was when everything started to fall apart. Diane was diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer. The doctors said it was aggressive. They said it was advanced. They said she needed treatment immediately. I was devastated. I was crushed. I was terrified. I held her hand in the hospital room and I told her I would take care of her. I told her I would do anything. I told her I loved her. She looked at me and she smiled. She smiled that smile she had been smiling for 40 years. She said, "I know." She said, "I love you too." But there was something in her eyes, something I could not read, something I did not want to read. I took care of her. I took her to appointments. I sat with her during chemo. I held her hair while she threw up. I made her meals. I cleaned the house. I did everything a husband was supposed to do. I was there. I was present. I was the man I promised to be. But she was distant. She was cold. She was not the woman I married. She was a shell. She was a ghost. And I thought it was the cancer. I thought it was the sickness. I thought she was just scared. I thought she was just in pain. I gave her the benefit of the doubt because I loved her. I gave her the benefit of the doubt because I was a good man. Michael and Emily came to visit. They came together. That was strange. They did not usually come together. They were not close. They were always competitive. Always fighting for attention. Always fighting for something. But they came together. They sat in the living room and they looked at me with the same face Michael had in the kitchen. The face that said, "You are an obstacle." The face that said, "You are in the way." They said, "We need to talk about Mom." They said, "We need to talk about her will." They said, "We need to talk about the house." They said, "We need to talk about power of attorney." I said, "No." I said, "I am her husband." I said, "I will take care of her." I said, "I will handle everything." They said, "You are getting old." They said, "You are not thinking clearly."
They said, "You need to let us help." They said, "We are your children." They said, "We love you." I looked at them. I looked at my children. I looked at the boy I taught to throw a baseball and the girl I gave away at her wedding. And I said, "No." I said, "I love you both." I said, "I trust you both. But this is my wife. This is my house. This is my life. I will not let you take it." They left. They did not visit again. They did not call. They did not check in. They abandoned me. They left me alone with Diane. Diane, who was getting sicker. Diane, who was fading. Diane, who was not the woman I married. She stopped talking to me. She stopped looking at me. She stopped touching me. She would lie in bed and stare at the ceiling and whisper things I could not hear. I thought she was hallucinating. I thought it was the drugs. I thought it was the cancer. It was not the cancer.
It was not the drugs. It was her. It was the truth she was carrying. It was the secret she had been hiding. I found the papers in February of 2021. I was looking for her insurance card. I was looking in her dresser drawer, the drawer she always kept locked, the drawer she said held her jewelry. I found a key. I used it. I opened the drawer, and I found papers, legal papers, documents, a power of attorney already signed, a will that had been changed, a will that left the house to Michael, a will that left everything to Michael and Emily, a will that left me nothing. Nothing. I was not in it. I was not mentioned. I was not her husband. I was not the man she loved. I was nobody. I confronted her. I went into the bedroom and I held the papers in my hands and I asked her what this was. She looked at me and she did not flinch. She did not cry. She did not apologize. She looked at me like I was a stranger. She said, "I am sorry, Arthur." She said, "I have been talking to a lawyer." She said, "I have been planning this for a while." She said, "I am leaving you." She said, "I have already left you." She said, "I have been with someone else." She said, "A man from my book club." She said, "His name is Richard." She said she loves him. She said she has loved him for 2 years. She said the cancer made her realize she wanted to be happy. She said she did not want to spend her last years with me. She said I was a good man. She said I was a kind man. She said I was a boring man. She said she wanted excitement.
She said she wanted passion. She said she wanted someone who made her feel alive. She said I was not that person. She said I never was. I left the bedroom. I left the house. I got in my truck and I drove. I drove for hours. I drove until the gas tank was empty. I pulled over on the side of the road and I sat in the dark and I cried. I cried like I had never cried. I cried like a child. I cried like a man who had lost everything. I lost my wife. I lost my children. I lost my house. I lost my future. I lost the life I had built. I lost the dream I had been dreaming since I was a boy in Ohio. I lost it all. The divorce was quick. Diane did not fight. She did not want anything except the house. She wanted the house. She said she earned it. She said she raised the children in it. She said she deserved it. My lawyer told me to fight. He told me I could win. He told me she had committed fraud. He told me the power of attorney was invalid. He told me the will was invalid. He told me I had rights. I looked at him and I said, "No." I said, "Let her have it." I said, "I do not want to fight." I said, "I do not have the strength." I said, "I just want to be done." I said, "I just want to disappear." And so I disappeared. I moved into the apartment, the small 2-bedroom apartment with the white laminated countertop and the burn mark. I brought my coffee maker and my recliner and my clothes. I brought a few pictures. I brought the shoebox under the bed, the shoebox with Emily's drawings, the shoebox with Michael's baseball cards, the shoebox with the memories of a life that no longer existed. I put the shoebox on the shelf in my closet. I never opened it. I could not open it. I could not look at the faces of the people who destroyed me. Michael and Emily did not speak to me after the divorce. They did not call. They did not visit. They did not send a card. They acted like I did not exist.
They acted like I was dead. Maybe to them I was. Maybe to them I had died the day I said no. The day I would not give them the house. The day I would not give them everything. They wanted it all. They wanted my money. They wanted my house. They wanted my future. And when I would not give it to them, they turned their backs. They threw me away like garbage. They threw me away like I meant nothing. Like the years of sacrifice meant nothing. Like the nights I worked double shifts meant nothing. Like the college tuition I paid meant nothing. Like the love I gave meant nothing. I heard through a mutual friend that Diane is living in the house with Richard. I heard they are happy. I heard they are making changes. I heard they painted the kitchen yellow. Yellow. Diane always hated yellow. She said it was a sick color. She said it made her feel nauseous. But she painted it yellow for Richard. She painted it yellow because Richard liked it. She painted it yellow because she was starting over. She painted it yellow because she was erasing me.
Michael and Emily are still fighting over the house. Diane changed her will again. She left the house to Richard. She did not leave it to them. She left it to the man she met at a book club, the man who read novels and wore sweaters and made her feel alive. My children were furious. My children were enraged. My children who ignored me for years. My children who abandoned me. My children who treated me like an ATM and a handyman and a babysitter. My children who had no use for me when I had nothing left to give. They are fighting Richard for the house. They are fighting a stranger for the home I built with my own 2 hands. They are fighting over a house that should have been mine. And me, I am here. I am in my apartment. I am drinking my coffee. I am watching the rain. I am watching the years pass. I am watching my grandchildren grow up on social media. I see their pictures. I see their birthdays. I see their achievements. I see them becoming the people I will never know. Jacob got into a good college. Mia is a cheerleader. Chloe is in middle school. She is beautiful. She is so beautiful. She looks just like her mother. She has red hair and freckles and that look that makes you feel seen. I send her a card on her birthday every year. I do not know if she gets them. I do not know if Emily throws them away. I do not know if I am a ghost to her. I send them anyway. I send them because I cannot stop. I send them because I still love her. I still love all of them.
That is the cruelest part. I still love them. I still love the people who broke me. I still love the people who threw me away. I still love the people who made me nothing. I go to the hardware store sometimes. I go to look at the tools. I go to smell the wood. I go to remember the days when I had a project. I go to remember the days when I had a purpose. I walk down the aisles and I see men my age. I see them with their sons. I see them teaching their sons how to fix a faucet. I see them handing their sons a hammer. I see them telling their sons, "Good job." I feel a pain in my chest. I feel a pain that is worse than the heart attack. It is a pain that does not go away. It is a pain that lives in me. It is a pain that reminds me that I failed. I failed as a father. I failed as a husband. I failed as a man. I sit in coffee shops sometimes. I sit for hours. I watch people. I watch families. I watch couples. I watch children. I watch the lives that are still intact. I watch the lives that have not been shattered. I wonder what they have that I do not. I wonder what they did right. I wonder what I did wrong. I wonder if I was too trusting. I wonder if I was too blind. I wonder if I was too nice. I wonder if I should have been harder. I wonder if I should have been colder. I wonder if any of it would have made a difference. I go to the church sometimes. I go when it is empty. I sit in the back pew. I look at the cross. I look at the stained glass. I look at the light coming through the windows. I do not pray. I do not have the words. I do not have the faith. I just sit. I just sit in the quiet. I just sit in the silence. I just sit and I think about the house. I think about the metal roof. I think about the sound of the rain. I think about the life I used to have. I think about the life I lost. I think about the people I loved. I think about the people who destroyed me. I am 68 years old. I have a heart condition. I have high blood pressure. I have a bad knee from a fall at a construction site in 1995. I have nothing else. I have an apartment. I have a coffee maker. I have a recliner. I have a shoebox full of memories. I have a phone that never rings. I have a mailbox that is always empty. I have a life that is a shadow of what it was. I have a life that is a monument to betrayal. My children took me to court for my house. They tried to take it from me. They tried to take it legally. They tried to take it with lawyers and documents and signatures. They tried to take it with cold words and colder eyes. They tried to take it because they wanted it. They tried to take it because they felt entitled to it. They tried to take it because they thought I was old and weak and stupid. They were wrong. I was not stupid. I was just trusting. I was just loving. I was just a father who believed in his children. I was just a father who thought love was enough. I was just a father who was wrong.
I think about the day I built the house. I think about the dirt and the weeds and the old trees. I think about the concrete and the nails and the wood. I think about my father handing me the hammer. I think about the sweat and the blood and the tears. I think about the pride I felt. I think about the joy I felt. I think about the hope I felt. I think about the man I was. I think about the man I used to be. I think about the man I will never be again. I think about Michael. I think about the boy I taught to throw a baseball. I think about the boy I taught to fish. I think about the boy I worked beside. I think about the boy I loved. I think about the man he became. I think about the man who looked at me like I was an obstacle. I think about the man who asked for my house. I think about the man who walked away when I said no. I think about the man who forgot me. I think about Emily. I think about the girl who sat on my lap. I think about the girl who asked about every word. I think about the girl I walked down the aisle. I think about the girl I gave away. I think about the woman she became. I think about the woman who looked at me like I was a stranger. I think about the woman who let her husband poison her against me. I think about the woman who forgot me. I think about Diane. I think about the cashier at the grocery store. I think about the red hair and the freckles and the laugh. I think about the woman I married. I think about the woman I loved.
I think about the woman I built a house for. I think about the woman who threw me away. I think about the woman who painted the kitchen yellow. I think about the woman who forgot me. I think about my grandchildren, Jacob and Mia and Chloe. I think about the children I held. I think about the children I pushed on swings. I think about the children I read to. I think about the children I loved. I think about the children who will never know me. I think about the children who will hear stories about me. I think about the stories they will hear. The stories that are not true. The stories that make me the villain. The stories that make me the one who abandoned them. The stories that make me the bad guy. I am the bad guy. That is what they think. That is what they believe. I am the old man who ruined everything. I am the old man who broke the family. I am the old man who was too stubborn to give up his house. I am the old man who was too selfish to let his children take what they wanted. I am the old man who was too difficult. I am the old man who was too hard to love. I am the old man who was not worth the effort. But I know the truth. I know what happened. I know what was taken from me. I know what was stolen. I know what was broken. I know who broke it. I know who did this to me. And I sit in my apartment. I sit in my recliner. I watch the rain. I watch the rain hit the window. I listen to the sound. It is not the sound of rain on a metal roof. It is a cheap sound.
It is a hollow sound. It is a sound that reminds me of everything I lost. I will not get the house back. I will not get my wife back. I will not get my children back. I will not get my life back. I will get none of it. It is gone. It is all gone. And I am here. I am here in this apartment. I am here in this recliner. I am here with my coffee maker and my burn mark and my shoebox full of memories. I am here with my silence. I am here with my loneliness. I am here with my heart that still beats, even though I wish it would stop. My children took me to court for my house. They took me to court and they fought me and they lost. They lost because the law was on my side. They lost because the truth was on my side. They lost because I did not break. They lost because I did not give in. But they forgot something. They forgot the most important thing. They forgot that I was their father. They forgot that I raised them. They forgot that I loved them. They forgot that I gave them everything. They forgot that I would have given them anything. They forgot that I was a human being. They forgot that I had a heart. They forgot that I was the one who built the house. They forgot that I was the one who made their lives possible. They forgot that I was the one who loved them before they were born. They forgot that I was the one who held them when they were small. They forgot that I was the one who stayed up at night when they were sick.
They forgot that I was the one who worked double shifts so they could have food on the table. They forgot that I was the one who sacrificed everything for them. They forgot that I was their father. They forgot that I was their father. And now I sit here. I sit here in this apartment. I sit here in this recliner. I sit here and I watch the rain. I sit here and I think about the house. I sit here and I think about the metal roof. I sit here and I think about the sound of the rain. I sit here and I think about the life I used to have. I sit here and I think about the life I lost. I sit here and I think about the people who destroyed me. I sit here and I think about the people who forgot me. And I wonder if they ever think about me. I wonder if they ever remember me. I wonder if they ever feel guilty. I wonder if they ever feel sorry. I wonder if they ever regret what they did. I wonder if they ever lie awake at night and think about the old man in the apartment. I wonder if they ever feel the weight of what they did. I wonder if they ever feel the shame. I wonder if they ever feel the pain. I wonder if they ever feel anything at all. I do not know. I will never know. I will never know because they will never tell me. They will never call. They will never visit. They will never write. They will never explain. They will never apologize. They will never make it right. They will just live their lives. They will just move on. They will just pretend I never existed.
They will just pretend I was never their father. And I will sit here. I will sit here in this apartment.
I will sit here in this recliner. I will sit here with my coffee maker. I will sit here with my burn mark. I will sit here with my shoebox. I will sit here with my memories. I will sit here with my pain. I will sit here with my loneliness. I will sit here with my silence. I will sit here and I will wait. I will wait for nothing. I will wait for the end. I will wait for the day when the pain stops. I will wait for the day when I do not have to remember. My children took me to court for my house, and then they forgot I was their father. They forgot. They forgot the most important thing. They forgot the only thing that mattered. And I will never forgive them. I will never forgive them for that. I will never forgive them for forgetting me. I will never forgive them for making me nothing.